Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, for your attention. It's a pleasure to be here at this kickoff meeting. My name is Ryan Murphy. I am the External Affairs Coordinator for Solvay in North America, and kind of, as far as the REACT grant itself, I kind of coordinate both the research and education activities with Solvay, both in the US and worldwide. Joining me today is Jean-Yves Delanois, who's the lab manager of the Complex Assemblies of Soft Matter Laboratory, which right away is a perfect example of why we're very excited about the REACT grant, because Solvay has a very strong history and understands very well how to collaborate internationally with different kinds of partners. And that's a great example of the Compass Lab, which is a formal agreement and collaboration between Solvay, the CNRS, and UPenn. We've had this agreement for now 8 years within North America, and the CNRS goes even further back than that. So Jean-Yves' role within the grant will be more of the technical PI perspective. And so this is just a brief overview in the few minutes I have of the reasons why we're very excited about the REACT grant and how it fits with what we plan to do at Solvay. So quick, the corporate spiel. I have to do this every time I speak, right? 2 slides about Solvay in case those who don't know. We are about a 150-year-old company founded in let's see, is this a pointer? 1863, Ernest Solvay founded the company looking at creating a new way to make soda ash. And since then, we've grown quite a bit. These are old numbers. I think these are 2014 numbers. We're about 30,000 people worldwide, about 12 billion euro in net sales, 12 major R&D centers worldwide, 2 of which are here in the US, one of which is 20 miles north in Bristol, Pennsylvania, and the other one is down just outside of Atlanta in our specialty polymers business. We have we value very much our innovation portfolio. We have a lot of a high percentage of our sales. We're top 3 in the global leaders in those markets, and we pride ourselves on selling a lot of our portfolio. A lot of our sales are in fast-growing markets, and so innovation activities like this, like the REACT, are very much on our radar and very much along the lines of how we like to create new materials. Again, these are just a quick example. I won't focus too much on this. I only included this here to show just kind of how broad of a market base we operate in. You'll notice a lot of these different markets all involve some kind of coating technology. And again, so from a technology overlap perspective, the REACT grant makes a lot of sense for us, and again, is something we're very excited about. I include this only to show, from the organizational perspective, Solvay is a very internationally active company. Again, along the lines of research and education internationally. These numbers are older. They're actually normalizing. North America is growing quite a bit. Asia and North America both are growing quite a bit in headcount and activity and sales. But you can see we span very strong activities in Europe, Asia, and North America, as well as Latin America. But again, we have a very strong history of collaborating with the CNRS across all different zones. And our collaboration with UPenn over the last 7 or so years, along with the CNRS, has been a kind of a crowning achievement with respect to the kind of research on the corporate level that we do within Solvay. Okay, so down to the business. We are involved in the REACT grant both on the research and education side, and so I'll spend just a few minutes on each of those. Really, innovation is a key driver to the growth of our company, just like any other company. And I think that we have a whole separate corporate R&D division, of which Jean-Yves' lab is part, which is it's completely dedicated to long-term material development. And so we split up our activities in kind of 2 general ways, like most companies do. We do in-house development. We do all of our, only Solvay researchers are developing new materials and patenting and so on. But a significant component of our work is involved in open innovation, which is where this kind of activity along the lines of being involved in these kind of grants with partners like UPenn and CNRS and others is a very important part of what we do. Specifically, this REACT grant is highly aligned with some of our global initiatives. You heard a lot today about polymer and nanoparticle active materials, energy storage and production, even some kind of bio-related materials and infectious disease control. These are all completely aligned with some broad themes that we have going on in all the markets that I kind of outlined before. And so for that reason already, REACT was, when it was presented to us by Russ, was extremely exciting, and we were immediately, did not have to be sold at all. Again, as I mentioned on the last slide, The international collaboration aspect of this grant, again, seamlessly fits into what we do and how we operate. Our global footprint is a mirror image of what the NSF was wanting out of such a collaboration. And we feel that also kind of a lot of our different initiatives on the technical perspective are spread around the world. Some here in the US, some in Brussels, as we're a Belgian company after all, and then all over France, Bordeaux, Paris, Lyon, and so on. So, and Lyon not too far from Grenoble, right? So it's a very nice fit in that regard. So just a quick kind of capture by act what I mean by why does this, on the research side, how does this kind of overlap with what we are interested in looking at both in the near and the long term. I've kind of highlighted all three acts and just briefly highlighted just different areas, right? Some of our business units, our Novecare business unit from the agrochemical markets, are very interested in looking at different kind of coatings for upon seeds for enhancing germination of plants. Water management generally, additives for water management in soils and agriculture, and controlling nutrient diffusion. Generally, our home personal care market is generally interested in this as well. And from the corporate R&I perspective, the kind of more technical aspect of modification of surfaces at the nanoscale are ubiquitous research focuses of interest within Act 1. Act 2, again, Novecare raising its head again with the coatings. It's all about coatings and React, and so we have a coatings business within this business unit, a sub-business within this business unit, looking at anti-fouling coatings. And our oil and gas team is extremely interested in biofilm inhibition for oil wells. This is a very big problem that for them, and so it's not necessarily disease prevention, but it is bacteria and cells making different coatings on surfaces and controlling that in a way in which is desirable for us. And so a lot of the things that you heard in the Act 2 presentation could be leveraged in this kind of market space as well. Again, on the larger scale R&I perspective, modification of surfaces at the nanoscale rears its head again in Act 2. Okay, again, very ubiquitous set of research goals that can be leveraged for both kind of acts. And finally, Act 3, we're very interested in looking at different ways to dope different kind of conducting polymers for different applications, and looking at ways to develop new solid electrolyte development. The work specifically that Karen highlighted is of extreme interest to us. We have active sales in the battery market, but we're trying to expand into different components of the batteries. And this is a big, as Karen very nicely highlighted, a very strong area of which we're interested in Solvay. So that's a snapshot. These are, I guess, one other kind of thing to mention here is that this is not the end-all, be-all. One of the big reasons why we're excited about being a part of this grant is that as things progress, as research does, if something seems to catch our eye that we did not, originally have in our purview, having the visibility of this in advance and being able to be intimately in contact with all the PIs in this kind of grant is a value to Solvay, almost above and beyond sometimes things that you can predefine. So that's one kind of philosophical note of these kind of interactions. And finally, I'll close with the education component, which is, again, a major important. We talk about sustainable innovation. A lot of this is technical, but a lot of this is not technical, right? And ensuring that we have we take responsibility to be a major player as far as bringing up the next batch of researchers, the next generation of researchers is a big component to that platform for Solvay. Having intimate exposure of new PhD students and postdoctoral students to industrial-based research, just seeing how this goes and coming out of the academic world, getting into the industrial world and realizing how the sausage is made, as Russ so eloquently put it, it behooves companies to play a part in that, because it only improves the quality of applicants that we get in the future, and that's really important for us. So in order to do that on the ground with this grant, we've kind of committed resources for two components. We want to house some students over the course of the grant in our laboratories in Solvay do internships, right? So we'll predefine with the REACT PIs and with our Solvay managers or research coordinators in the specific labs, projects that are very well defined, about a 6 to 8 week project where it aligns with the thesis work of the React student or the React postdoc project, and it's very unique in a way in which Solvay can play a role and advance that project. And then we'll have them in our labs, be it in the U.S. or in Europe, and have them take part in research side by side with Solvay researchers. So again, from the technical perspective, there's a lot of overlap within Solvay that from our competencies compared to the ones that are outlined here within the grant. But also this next one is maybe as important from the perspective of the education, is getting the students the taste of the culture of industrial science, right? Organizational hierarchy is something that's fairly new. Project approval structure. Who do you have to talk to? Whose nod do you have to get before you can go and do something? Industrial safety. This is massive. This is a big culture shock to a lot of students coming out of the university system into industry. Training standards and so on. Just having a flavor of these things, having expectation of what it's like to work outside of the university environment is a huge benefit to students going forward. And finally, we want to take part also alongside the internships, and maybe even kind of coupled with them, our mentorship program. So kind of have we don't just want this to be a 6-8 week, you do your thing, come in, come out, and good luck to you. It kind of, if there's a way we can offer some kind of continuous connections to the students with Solvay people on a higher level. So maybe some technical, but also just career path development. If industry is something for you, how can we help you gain a better understanding of how to guide your career going forward to put you in a place where you want to be. As much as we can do, we would like to, we're offering that, as we see, again, is important to our sustainable innovation agenda. So with that, that's all I have for today. We're very excited. There's a lot of alignment within Solvay and the React grants from both the educational side and the technical side. Organizationally, we're very used and very excited about getting into these kind of projects, as you can see by a lot of our interactions with the CNRS and UPenn. And we look forward to a wonderful research program for 5, hopefully 10 years. Thank you.